Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. We got an Outlaw Troopers video for you here, and it's a little bit different than what we normally do, but it's going to answer a lot of the questions that I've been receiving as far as I'm new to Outlaw Troopers. Where do I start? I'm actually going to go ahead and show you 3 different starting points depending on what your commitment level is uh, within games that you want to jump into, all the way from a beginner standpoint that allows you to at least get started and run some of the key parts of the game, all the way through to a pro level and a next level bonus that I'm going to throw here at the end of the video. Before we really jump into this, I'm going to go ahead and give the normal disclaimer. Since we're talking about starting points in the games, I want you to understand that I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Please make sure you do your own research before you jump into any game. Don't just take my opinion because I made a video on it. Do what's right for you in your situation, not what I say. This is just kind of guidance. It gives you an idea of what you could look out for. All right, now that we got the disclaimer out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about it. I'm going to give you 3 different entry points, 3 different levels, and you can start in the beginner level and work your way up to the advanced and the pro level. That's perfectly fine. That's what I'm personally doing. And then at the end, again, I'm going to show you the next level, how you can really step it up, even with the beginner side of the house. All right, again, we're talking about Outlaw Troopers. Within Outlaw Troopers, there are a number of key different areas, and 2 of the main areas, actually 3 of the main areas that you want to start off right away, especially beginner style, beginner level, is the encounters. There's actually 2 different types of encounters. There is the normal encounters. That's where you send some troops there and you try and earn different gears and coins, or credits they call them, and you try and level up that way. That helps you actually level up in the leaderboard. In addition to that, there's the robotic encounters. That actually gives you different things that you can go ahead and help upgrade your basically your different companions, and then also your robots. So those are 2 key things that you want to be able to run as a beginner into the game. And the third one is the obvious one, the one we are actually just on, is the missions. You want to be able to run these missions so you can get credits and ore and keys and other items passively. So those are the 3 main things. And this first setup that we're going to talk about is what I'm calling the beginner setup. It looks like this. It is very simple. It takes 2 different NFTs. Preferably if you can get more, that's better. But this is the basic standpoint where you can go ahead and actually run those encounters, and also start with some missions. We're calling these are one of the troopers. If you're familiar at all with Outlaw Troopers, there are 3 types of troopers. There are utility, there's workhorses, and then there's guardians, and they all have specific things that you can go ahead and do with them. The workhorses are probably better for the missions, the guardians are better for the encounters, and the utility can be used for both. So you have the common utility character, which is right here, the worm foil. And then you have the quits, which are the robotic ones. The utility trooper can go ahead and run those normal encounters and can also do the missions for you. And the quits, which are the robots, can do the robotic encounters for you. You can start with 1 of each, and you can go ahead and start playing and slowly work your way up. Are you going to be competitive on the leaderboard? No. Are you going to have some fun with it, learn the game? Yes, and that's what the beginner setup is for. It's really to understand and start learning the game itself, access the base items that you need to go ahead and work through, and just see if you want to continue with the game. That's the beginner setup. Now we're going to jump up to the next one, and the advanced setup is the one I'm currently working on, and there's actually a pretty big jump between the beginner setup and the advanced one, so I must warn you before we jump over to that. Anywhere in between the beginner and the advanced is a good place, especially in the early stages of your playing within Outlaw Troopers. Jumping over to the advanced setup, this is where you can actually really sustain yourself within the game. You can run all the encounters, plus you can do a whole lot more. You're generating enough of the virtuals, you have enough of the quits to go ahead and be effective within the robotic encounters. You have workhorses that are gathering your keys and arcs, which is a whole other video that we'll talk about. You have guardians that are running bounty hunter missions for you. You're even getting radioactive shards. So in order to get with the advanced setup, it's really the epic troopers that are going to be in there. As far as the first 2 that we have here, the Phantom, which is an epic guardian, and then we have the Lady Silk Sand, which is an epic utility. Both are going to be very helpful in this. They're also probably the highest priced item in this setup. So be aware of that. You can go ahead and fish around. You can either go into the secondary market, Atomic Hub or Nifty, or even there's a trade channel within the FGL Discord that you can go ahead and try and get these from. So those are going to be your highest ticket ones. And then the Guardians and the Workhorses, they don't have to be epics. As I mentioned, the Phantom is actually the epic Guardian of this class. You can actually start with commons of those just to get them working because you're doing bounty hunters. Obviously, the higher rarities you have, the better results and the better rewards you're going to get from it. But you don't have to start with all epics. That would just be entirely too expensive if you're just looking to do the advanced setup. Just go with 5 Guardians, 10 Workhorses. You can be all commons just to get them working and generating for you, as long as you have these first 2 for the normal runs or the normal encounters, however you want to call it. And then there's 20 quits. 20 quits gives you a good chance for farming artifacts within the robotic encounter, and then it can also help you generate the keys so you can go on those encounters. So this is again a big step up from the beginners, but it really gets you to the point where you're self-sustaining and you can go ahead and you're not having to buy certain things or struggle to get certain things outside within what you can generate yourself. Now we're going to jump up to the pro level. These are the people that are here. And some may call them whales. Some call them really committed to the game itself. It doesn't matter how you look at it. These are the ones that are really on the top of the leaderboard. With the advanced setup, you can compete on the leaderboard. I don't think you're going to make it to the top 10, but you can compete with that setup. With the pro setup, as long as you're working on a daily basis, you're going to go ahead and be top 10 possibility. I'm not guaranteeing that. Obviously, I'm not guaranteeing any results from any of these setups. So please understand that. Again, another disclaimer. But this gives you a much better chance than if you had the beginner setup to really compete at the highest level within the game. These are the 2 legendary characters. I mentioned it before. You're going to get a legendary of the Guardian, which is Starfall, and then you're going to get a legendary of the utility, which is the Fire Shot. Those are going to be the ones that really run the encounters. They're really the best for radioactive shard farming. So you can go ahead and get those hard items to do and all the gears and everything that goes along with them. And then I'm also saying that 20 Guardians. Again, it does not have to be epic or legendary Guardians. If you've taken the step up from beginner to advanced to the pro setup, you're going to already have an epic Guardian, and then you already have some of the regular bounty hunters or the Guardians for it. So you can have any range of rarity. Again, the higher rarity, the better results you're going to have. And then the last 2 here is the max that you can afford. Obviously, don't overextend your budget, but the more of these that you have, the better off it's going to be. You're going to be able to generate more keys, more arcs. Arcs are basically milestone quests that you can go ahead in there and get additional rewards for it. Plus, they're going to be running your missions for you and producing a lot of different items, whether it's gears, whether it's the keys, as I mentioned, a lot of different things that are going to be available for you too. And also the quits. The higher stacking or the more quits that you have, those little robots, the more armor you're going to have when you're running the robotic encounters. Plus, they can also farm a whole lot more keys that you need for those robotic encounters. So this is really the setup. If this is your game, if Outlaw Troopers is your game, this is the setup that you ultimately want to try and get to. It's going to vary. Obviously, every season there's going to be a little bit of an adjustment, so you're going to have to keep an eye on that. This is an awesome setup. This is a setup I would love to have. I obviously don't at this point in time, but soon, maybe soon, we'll see. And I also wanted to mention that there is some what I call next level items that you can get to go along with any of these 3 setups that's really going to help your sustainability and really help you throughout the game itself. These are things that are not required, but are definitely great to have if you can go ahead and grab them. The next level items are, we'll start off with it, the space station. If you're not familiar with the space stations they are basically passive FGL creators. You need FGL in order to run normal encounters. You need FGL in order to mint different items within the game. So FGL is incredibly important for your daily activities. If you have a way to go ahead and generate that passively, the space station's there. That's going to help you as far as continuing to make you self-sustainable, so you don't have to go through other means in order to get the FGL that you need, the token that you need. In addition, a deed for a planet. planets essentially generate you credits. Credits you also used for a lot of things in game. You can also exchange credits for FGL. You can do a lot of different things with the credits as long as you have a passive way of doing it. So this is a great thing to have as far as going to the next level. And if you're a beginner, the caveat with these top two is they're rather expensive, especially the space station, because it's a passive way to get the in-game token or FGL token in general. It's going to be the highest or the most expensive. The deeds are going to be also similar to expensive because they only give out, or you can only earn 10 of those every single season. So they're also extremely limited. But the bottom here, these two options, if you happen to play Cosmic Clash or Mecha World, you can actually use those NFTs in-game also. The Mecha World robots essentially go out to the planet for these deeds, and they give you life force, or they mine life force for you. They can go ahead and use to upgrade different items. And then the Cosmic Clash, they're used for ships, and they give you 100%, depending on the rarity, bonus for your missions that you're running, and also for your armor and weapons. Just to have them. So you can go ahead and use those NFTs in here also. These are 4 different things that you can go ahead to the next level, and some of them you can actually use at the beginner stage if you happen to have in place. But if you have the means, we'll call it, to get a space station, you're probably going to spend that more on the items in game than maybe the space station, but who knows? You may have got one pretty cheap, and there you go. So again, these are the levels or the setups. I'm not guaranteeing anything with these, but if you're a beginner and you're looking to just test out the game and get a feel for the game, I go with these two. Go ahead and grab them, start running some of the encounters, the missions, and build from there. See if you like the game. If you're more advanced, you like the game, and you really want to start getting higher on the leaderboard, check out the advanced setup. If you're a pro or a whale or someone that's really committed to this game, this is your one game in total, maybe some combination of the other 2 FGL games. You're going to want to go with the pro setup if you can do it, if you can manage it. It's a lot, though. Again, I have to put that caveat out there. It is a lot to get up the pro setup, but you're also going to compete very well if you're able to do that. And then the next level items that help really make it a lot easier for the long runs. The top two are going to be the passive items. The bottom 2 are, I guess, integrating a couple games together to help you out. If you have any questions as far as these setups go ahead and let me know down in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer them. Again, I'm still working through a lot of them, but it just makes sense for me from this setup perspective. I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I'll talk to you later.